Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, sorry guys. Sorry about the overlap there, by the way. Anyone that could hear that. Didn't realize that I actually had my Twitch running in the other screen. I just wanted to check that things were all up and running, and I usually mute it, but I forgot. So that's my bad. Yeah, sorry, I've kind of started a bit late here, but right. Also, again, bear with me. I'm just trying to fix this. Oh, that's interesting. That's not the screen I wanted. I'm trying to find Spotify. I'm having to like squint. That's weird. Spotify doesn't want to like show itself for some reason. So that's fine. Oh, there it is. Cool. Yeah, sure. Oh no. Okay, that's better. Cool. So, wow, it's been a while. For anyone that's watching this that may have watched obviously previous streams from me, probably about a month ago now. It's almost been a month. I don't think it's quite been a month, but nearly. So I've been away for a little while. So yeah, apologies to everyone for being away for so long. Well, people that regularly keep up with this. In the spirit of honesty, I was actually really burnt out a few weeks ago. Just working on various projects and trying to get a lot of stuff done. Still job searching. So yeah, always get that point every now and then where just gets overwhelming and you have to kind of take a step back. You've got to take care of yourself, and you've got to it's always a difficult decision to make, especially when you're working on stuff and you're like, this is important. I wanted to push this a bit more as well and really start getting into tutorials. That's something I'll talk about a bit later on in this, but I had to just take some time out there to relax and to recuperate and to think a bit more about this project, other projects going forward, and just having a bit more clarity, I suppose, around things, especially project-wise and career-wise too. So yeah, as I said, I'm still actively searching for a job, so still busy with that, but I've got a bit more of a how can I put it? I would say a bit more of like a stable kind of schedule now for work. So before I was kind of working like most days of the week. I've managed to just cut down those days to 3 days. I'm working part-time, by the way, for anyone that's interested. So I'm just in retail. So I'm doing 3 days a week now. So I've cut that down a bit, and I've got more time to spend on projects and job searching, which is great. So that kind of sort of comes to the first part of this, the things I wanted to cover anyway. As you can see by the title, this is just like a channel and project updates kind of video. And then we'll be, as the sort of week goes on, we'll be looking more back into the portfolio projects and some other projects I've actually been working on too. But yeah, in terms of channel, so as you guys know, some of you that are watching this now might be on Twitch, some of you might be on YouTube. That's a good indication. I should probably check the chat as well, just to make sure that I'm not missing anything, because I often do. Oh, by the way, yes, this is the background that you can see here is the most recent version of the portfolio, and I'll go into the newest look, because I can't remember where we were at the last time I was working on this, so we'll get into that stuff. But yeah, channel updates. So yeah, Twitch and YouTube. So obviously for the portfolio project that I've been that's the only project I've been doing since I've started this whole live streaming, content creation stuff. That will continue to be live. I mean, for now anyway, live streamed on YouTube and Twitch. And because that's been great. It's been great to see, on both platforms there's actually been some nice engagement, and been getting some really nice comments as well on the stuff. So thank you to everyone leaving those comments, and I'll definitely get back to some of those because I'm sure I've seen some questions there. But again, I've seen a lot of those in the burnout phase, and I just it's just one of those things, right? I've been meaning to get round to that, so I will do that. So yeah, in terms of schedule, which was one of the main things I wanted to talk about, I've kind of got a bit more of a like I said, a more steady schedule at work, so that I can plan around the days that I'm working, because before it was a bit difficult to do that. The only time I really had was on weekends, but on weekends I'd want to sort of relax or hang out with friends and stuff like that. So yeah, it made finding time to stream a bit difficult, so I just do it a bit sporadically. But now I found I can set myself a bit more of a stream schedule. So I found the best way to do that, because the feature's built in, is just to do that via Twitch. So even you guys that are watching on YouTube, if you want to find out the kind of stuff I'll be streaming, the best place is to head over to Twitch and to check sort of the stream schedule on there for the kind of things I'll be working on. I've tried to go for like a thematic approach to things, just to make it a bit more, a bit easier for myself in terms of actually deciding what to work on, because that's another thing, right? It's deciding like, what am I going to do in today's stream. So I'm going to take like a thematic approach. At the moment in my head, I think I'm going to do a couple of streams a week, maybe I'll say maybe 2 to 3, potentially 4, but I would say, I don't want to overpromise, so I would say like around 2 to 3. And those would be like on the weekends and on like 1 or 2 of my days off as well. And I'll essentially just be working on a whole bunch of different things. So on one day, let's say I'll be working on a portfolio project, I would just be solely working on that, or any other personal projects. And then on like another day, so I haven't decided the days yet. I'm gonna sort of think about that a bit more, maybe this evening, over the weekend, and then once I've got an idea about that, either in a future video or on my Twitch or like wherever is easiest, or in my Discord. You can join that if you don't know about that or haven't seen it. I will actually make sure to pop a link in the chat to that in 2 seconds. There's my Discord. So yeah, where was I at? So with the schedule, like I said, I haven't really figured out what days they'll be, but I'll be aiming to split it up between working on like personal projects, including my portfolio, like challenges, so things like all different types of challenges actually. So you have things like Code Wars and Leak Code. Is it Leak Code? I think Leak Code, that are focused more around like data structures and algorithms and sort of more like problem solving skills. I really want to kind of push for that, and also it's going to help in the interview process. So there's definitely that stuff. And then there's also like the UI kind of challenges, which I really like. So stuff like Front End Mentor, which I'll actually just pop up because they're really cool. And if anyone that's watching this hasn't seen them, and you're wanting to sort of improve, especially if you're wanting to improve your CSS skills, which is what I found this really useful for, but not just CSS skills. If you're looking for a project that you want to do for your portfolio, this is a perfect place to come. They've got like a whole range of different projects, ranging from newbie at 1 all the way up to guru at 5. So like the newbie kind of things are just small little bits of like UI, maybe just one landing page, where it'll essentially just be HTML and CSS. Obviously you can use like React if you're trying to get more into React and trying to get better at building UIs there. You can of course do that as well. You're not limited to anything in this, so that's another great thing. So you have that at that level, and then all the way up to sort of the guru level, you have, this is where you'll be creating like multi-page sites, and adding some interaction. Some of them will require you to work with APIs and stuff like that. I actually did one of my first projects like ever on here, which was, if I can find it, I think I'm logged in, so if I can't find it, I'll just go to my page. Yeah, I can't see it here. Oh, is that it? Yeah, this is it. So it's basically just I made like a social media dashboard. Funny story as well, just before I move on. so this is when I was at like my very, very early stages. Like I think I'd been coding for about 2 months, if even that. And I so the really nice thing about this is that you can get a lot of community support. So what you do essentially is you pick what challenge you want to do. So say I wanted to pick this one. I've obviously already done it, so it says, you know, restart there. But usually it would say like, okay, you have to unlock that with Pro, so that's not what we're looking for. This one I don't think you do. So you can start challenge, right? And essentially, you obviously do the challenge. They kind of give you some resources to help you out, some like design files, like, so I think they send you like JPEGs and stuff like that, so you can have a look at the design and go off that. If you are on like the Pro tier, you actually get like the design file itself, so like the sketch or the Figma file, so you can actually have a bit more of an in-depth look at the design. And for me, that's more helpful just because I've been using Figma like a lot more now. But once you're done with the challenge, you basically post it as a solution. So this is like, once you're finished with the project, you upload it and it becomes like a solution. You can have a look at other people's solutions and see how they did it. And it's a really nice way to see like how differently you work to other people, and maybe there's something that you struggled on that you found someone else has like a better solution on, and you can improve that way. So the community aspect of this is actually really, really nice, and I've been meaning to get back to this for a while. Hey, I can never remember it. Is it Rollicked? I think it was Rolly I decided to call you, wasn't it? Hey, how's it going? It's nice to see you back again. Thanks for joining. It's been a while. I was just saying at the beginning of this, apologies for disappearing for quite a while. Just got a bit burnt out, you know, with the whole coding thing, and decided to take a bit of time away, just to kind of relax and I'm back, so I suppose that's the most important thing. But I'm just kind of going through at the moment, Rolly, front-end mentors. So I'm just talking about what I'm going to be doing on my channel going forward, which includes working on different projects aside from the portfolio. So I'm still going to carry on with the portfolio project, but I'm also going to be doing things like coding challenges, so like problem solving things, algorithms and data structures, but then also UI challenges like this one, which is what brought me onto this. And I'm just talking about front-end mentors and how you can use it to like really level up your CSS skills, but also your JavaScript skills as well. You can pick a few projects on here where you can work with APIs and stuff like that. But yeah, where I was getting to actually just before you joined was that I was just explaining that I posted my first, so this was probably the first project I did that I actually put up on GitHub, and it was basically just creating this color theme switcher, or this social media dashboard with a color theme like switcher. It's quite straightforward, but funnily enough, so in my solution, so I was just saying as well that you can post solutions here to see how other people have worked on similar projects, which is like a really nice feature of it, and I found that helpful myself. And people can comment on them as well, and maybe give you some tips, or like say how much they liked it, you know, whatever. And on one of mine, someone commented, and they said, oh, like or perhaps I think maybe, you know what, I should probably was it a comment, or was it okay, no, so here you have someone suggesting, you know, a smoother transition to use CSS variables for the colors, and you can manipulate them in JS instead of toggling classes. You can simply modify the variables that have the color codes, which is a really good idea, and I didn't know that back then. So like, that's just one example of, you know, why this can be helpful. So it's the report 42 accessibility issues. I didn't know anything, you know, I hold my hands up, I didn't know anything about accessibility or semantic HTML, so I had a lot of accessibility errors, and what they actually were, all, like, I'm pretty sure all of them were duplicate IDs. So I didn't know at this point that you can only have one ID. I mean, and when I say ID, I mean as in like, so ID equals like overview count, right? You can only have one of those, like, but I put that in several places thinking that was okay. So I mean, obviously if I'd known React at this point, it'd be a completely different story, but that obviously wasn't the case, and I obviously didn't know about the ID thing. So, but that's just a funny story of sorry, I've Radio Oscars. Oh yes, of course. Okay, yes, Oscar. Yeah. Cool. Man, there's some cool nicknames. I think I need more nicknames, to be honest. I don't have many. But yeah. That's going to be what I'm aiming to do. Just have like fun little challenges like that as well, and try and integrate a bit more. I suppose a bit more interaction with the community as well. Have maybe some pair programming sessions and stuff like that would be really cool, and chat to some other developers about what they're doing, about their journeys. Hey Codax, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Great to have you here. I'm just going through some channel and project updates at the moment. So yeah, I'm currently on the topic of sort of what I want to do with this channel going forward. So at the moment, I've been working on the portfolio project. That's mainly what I've been doing, but also hoping to do a few challenges, and also like kind of do a few kind of like interviews as well. So speaking to other developers about what they're working on, and some cool things they've built, and what their journeys have been like actually. Welcome back. Thanks. Yeah, it's great to be back. I was gone for a little while there, just in burnout land, so I just had to just stop for a little bit. But yeah, it's good to be back. And I haven't been I didn't entirely stop coding when I was taking my break. I was working on this project, like not that much, but I was working on a few things which I will update in this in a minute. I was also working on another small app as well, which I'll show you guys. But yeah, so as for the channel updates, yeah, I'm hoping to do that around live streaming. And then the other thing is like tutorials. So one thing I've noticed recently, I've been getting a lot of like really nice comments and stuff on some of the older streams, much more towards the beginning of when I was doing this project, around how helpful people found sort of me showing the workflow from like designing to code. So like Figma, and then sort of designing these features. And I've been wanting to do this for a while as well anyway. So what I'm going to be doing, just to let you all know now, is I'm going to be putting together a sort of like typical Figma for devs sort of little course, just to take you from like the most basic sort of understanding of Figma to being able to actually like design like full projects essentially. I just really want to sort of help people to understand how, like, I don't want to say how easy Figma is, because that's probably not the, that's not really encouraging for anyone to say they find it easy, because when I first used it, I did not find it easy. And yeah, it wouldn't have been nice for people to say, oh, it's easy. But I would say it's straightforward. And I just really want to highlight how straightforward it can be to use once you understand like how certain functions within it work. So even just to jump into it now, actually, this might be what I look at during the course. I might use a different project design, or maybe we'll just design something from scratch. But essentially what it will be is just like looking through, I suppose first, like just actually taking a walk through of Figma, like what are all these different tabs, what do these things do, so looking at each of these, and then looking at the paging system and how you can create different pages within a project, which is like a really, really handy feature to actually split up. So like for this project, for example, I've got like my design inspiration file, I've got my style guide in a separate part of this Figma file. I've got a little playground where I test out ideas. I've got my entire component library, which I will obviously then convert to code. And then I've got what I call the lab, which is just, again, it's a bit more of like an experimental little playground, but things I'm not sure about. And then we have the mockup, which is like, obviously where I'll be prototyping as well. So it's just looking at stuff like that, how you can create these kind of like different pages and layouts, and then looking at the actual layering system and how you can take advantage of that. Looking at design tokens and how you can use them across your project. So on the right here, we've got all of these different text styles, color styles, and also some grid styles as well. So all that kind of stuff that we'll be looking at in that course. So I haven't actually started on it yet, but I will be starting on it in the next week or so. And I haven't put too much thought around this yet. I'm going to be thinking about this more probably over the next couple of days in terms of structure, whether it's going to be like, and guys, feel free to give me feedback on this as well. Either on here or in the Discord on like what you prefer, because for me, like I've taken like a whole range of different YouTube courses, and I think I'm getting to a point now where like I kind of understand like how I learn from things best, and I usually like shorter like videos, but more of them than like one long video. But just let me know what the preferences are, and it'd be really cool to see what you guys think as well. But more of my thinking, I'm hoping to do around actually how I'm going to release the videos. So I know it's a common thing for people to like just drop the whole entire course, right? All of the videos there and then. But then there's also like the other way that, and I know that the Net Ninja, I think it's Net Ninja, who I follow like a lot of his stuff. He sort of does it incrementally, so he'll release like a video, like almost like a video a day or a video every 2 days. That kind of idea as well. So I've been thinking about possibly doing that. So yeah, I'll decide on that, and once I decide on that and get all the editing done, then I'll start I'll either roll out the releases or release it all as one. We'll have to see. Obviously, if I'm releasing it all as one, that's going to take a lot longer, and I do want to get things out a bit quicker, so it'd be cool. Building my own version of your portfolio, and I'd like to know if yeah, of course, yeah. You for sure have permission. I mean, the only thing that I ask is just for credit, really, just for the accreditation. Maybe a link back in, like it doesn't have to be on the site. It can just be in like the GitHub repo. That would be nice. But for sure you can use it. Like, that's like another thing that I wanted to mention is that, yeah, like anyone can feel free to use this. I've actually got it under an MIT license as well. So it kind of states all of that stuff there. You're free to use it. But obviously, with accreditation, that would be great. And I'll drop the Discord link for you now. Thanks for reminding me actually, because I did say I was going to do that earlier and I completely forgot. The Discord's been quiet for a while as well. That's my bad. Like I said, I've been away, but I'm going to be sort of more active on there as well again. So let's just grab that link. Cool. So I will drop that in the chat. So hopefully you should see that there. So yeah. I'm hoping to do that. I'm also hoping to, because again, another thing that I've been getting a lot of sort of comments around is people also, it's really interesting how many people are like also learning Next.js, but also learning Chakra UI as well. And some people learning Storybook. So that was really cool to see. And yeah, I am hoping to also create some content around that, some tutorials around sort of how to integrate those all together. So still learning. Yeah, I remember you said you learned the fundamentals, but I mean, like, that's it's the best way to go about it. I would say is getting really solid with them, and I'm really glad that I took a bit more time to. Oh no, you're most welcome, Codex. Oscar, I'm glad I took more time to stay with the fundamentals, because like I kind of got to a point where I realized that okay, people that started at a similar time to me all like jumping into React, and I could go now, but I actually just decided to hold back a bit and get a bit more like firm in the fundamentals, and I do feel like it's actually helped me a lot once I've got into React, because of course, like at the end of the day, when you look at it in a way it is just an abstraction, right? So obviously you having that prior fundamental knowledge is going to only help you more and more, like as you work with React and other abstractions as well, because obviously they all point back to the same kind of concepts under the hood. So yeah, no, I think it's a good way. It's a good way to do it for sure. So yeah, that's kind of all really for the channel update. So I'm gonna be updating my stream schedule on Twitch. If I think it should already be updated. If not, I will be doing that straight after this. So you guys will be able to yeah, see like when I'm going to be going live. I think that's probably the best way to do it. But I'll also be posting updates on Twitch anyway. And I'm going to think a bit more around themes for each sort of live stream, like for each day that I'll be streaming. I mean, at the moment, I know for sure that like for Sundays, for example, I'm going to be doing like open source Sundays where like every Sunday I'll just spend like an hour maybe just working on either an open source project that I've made or an open source project that I'm trying to contribute to. I'll be spending time each week doing that. So that one's like set in stone. But it's just the other days I need to think about. But like I said, I'm going to be doing the portfolio and similar personal projects on one of the other days, and then probably on one of the other days doing like coding challenges and stuff like that. So yeah, that's all for the channel updates. Let's have a look. I'm actually working on them. Cool. Yeah, sure, Rolly. Yeah. I mean, you're in the Discord, right? Yeah, feel free to like pop like a screenshot or a link in there, and yeah, for sure, if I've got anything, I can give you any constructive feedback. I will, for sure. That's no problem. So yeah, so this is what the design's looking like. We can have a look at the prototype as well. So again, in the upcoming Figma course, this is all of the kind of things I'll go through. We can have a quick look at like what the prototype's looking like. So at the moment, I haven't actually created all the routes, but I've kind of just added this today just as like a little thing. So yeah, that's basically all for the channel updates. So now to the project updates, and as we can see, I've got this page here. So this is live. This is actually live on my domain now. So yeah, I've kind of managed to get the changes I've been making in all of the past streams pushed up to production. It all went fairly smoothly until I went to change one or two things and then like faced an annoying merge conflict. But I managed to resolve those, and we're all good now. So yeah, we've got a few different things. I think from the last stream we did have this like kind of little thing in here, except for it wasn't animating, but I'm just using frame of motion actually here just to add a very subtle animation here. It's just infinitely looping, and we've now got this little scroll thing just as an indication, because it isn't immediately obvious that you can actually scroll down here, so I just want to make that known. And then here, I think I had this before, I've got my featured projects, and as you can see, and none of you guys will probably remember from last time, but I've actually got an additional project in here now, which is my guest book. So I created this with Next.js. Again, just wanted to have another project with Next.js just to learn a bit more about some of the features. But I'm also using Prisma as which is basically a database toolkit, and it acts as like an ORM for your database. So I'm not going to go too much into this, but for anyone that doesn't know or isn't familiar, I'm still like learning this. So I'm kind of just going off like what I've learned from the process. So what Prisma does, like, I suppose if we look at like a database, right? So for this guest book, for example, we can just visit the site quickly here just to get an idea. Ignore all of this stuff here. Let me actually just go back for a second. So yeah, ignore all of these previous things. Basically, this is my guest book. So like anyone, I'd invite you guys to try this out as well. I'm not sure if I don't think the authentication is going to work, just because I need to update some stuff on the GitHub OAuth. Because for GitHub OAuth, if you're using it in development, you need to have one for production as well. That's just the tip, if any of you guys didn't know that or haven't created any applications using the GitHub authentication. So we'll get into trying that in a second. But basically, yeah, I'm using Prisma as the database toolkit. So let's imagine with this, right? So once you sign in, you see like an input and you've got a button to submit that thing. So let's say I want to share something like hello. I say hello and I click it to submit it. It submits. What happens is that at that point, it sends like a query to the database to save that information. So what it does, it saves a user object, and it saves a posts object. And so this basically is going into like a Postgres SQL database. And what's nice about Prisma is for someone like me that doesn't really know much about manually going into databases and doing things, I have like an understanding of how they work and the features of them, but I haven't actually got any sort of like experience with actually like using them in practice, which I'm hoping to actually do as well, because I think that will give me sort of greater ability to work with Prisma as well, is to really learn how things are working under the hood. So I do plan to do that. But essentially, what Prisma lets you do is, instead of actually going and manually doing these things, you basically, I think the best way to, and this isn't like a tutorial on this thing, this is just kind of like a quick explanation of how this works. But essentially what it does is it allows you to like define a schema, which then, so you can define like a schema in this like one file. You can use like one of they have this like Prisma migrate command, where it basically then maps that schema, that model, and it syncs it up with your like database. And what's being synced up is like the actual tables in the database and your API. So you have like a Prisma client, and that's how, as I mentioned before, if you were to submit something, it would then send off this like submit like request, and essentially it does that through what's called the Prisma client, and that is the thing that you're sort of trying to sync up with your database. So when you're using that Prisma migrate, it basically syncs those two up so that you can be sure that you're actually like, you know, referring to the right thing. It's probably not a good explanation, but in my head, like, I understand it. So, but I think in a separate video, maybe when I work on this a bit more, we can have a look at this a bit more in depth, and I can show you guys, you know, maybe, you know, if you haven't sort of touched databases before, but you're interested, this could be like an interesting way into understanding how to work with them through the lens of Prisma, essentially. So I don't think this is going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. But I feel like, yeah, so we're getting an auth error just because the callback URL is not registered, because this has a certain domain now, and obviously I'm putting the authentication callback URL to my local host, so that's just why it's not working. But I can't be bothered to spin up the local host, so we'll just leave it. But at least you know what it generally looks like. I've also been using TypeScript in this project as well, actually, which is another update. I'm going to be migrating my portfolio project to be using TypeScript, but it'll be using the approach of incremental typing. So I don't think I'll be going through and like typing the whole thing, but there'll be certain parts of the application where I feel it's necessary, especially soon I'm going to start working with APIs to add a few more features to this. So what this is looking like at the moment, you know, this is fine, but this is like, in my head, this is like the most basic sort of MVP idea. And I do want to sort of grow this out to be more interactive, to have more features, such as like what I'm listening to on Spotify right now. You know, that kind of idea. And that was inspired by Lee Robinson, which again, a big part of this portfolio is inspired by him, so it would be cool to have a feature like that. And yeah, other things like even integrating with Twitch, you know, when I'm live streaming, to have that shown on the site. I'm trying to think of what else, what other ideas I've kind of had. Yeah, just sort of more interactivity and integrating with APIs, and so TypeScript will be really handy there for ensuring type safety from when you know, we have data coming into an application all the way through to when it's being shown within a component, basically. So that's what TypeScript can help us with. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, this is what we're looking like right now on the actual live site. So it's kind of nice to kind of have it up. It's all statically built, so it's, you know, super quick. One thing I did realize though, excuse me, one thing I did realize is, so I've actually been sort of very recently, literally last night, just checking my performance, because, you know, that was one of the things I mentioned at the beginning of this project, was to consider a few key things such as accessibility and performance were two of the main ones. And like looking at this, scores are fairly good. Accessibility, there's a couple of things we need to do there that I already knew about. Mainly just adding the lang attribute to the HTML element, which I just need to do by adding an underscore document file in my Next.js repo. So that can kind of just be done in one commit essentially, which is nice, which I will be getting around to doing tonight because I probably shouldn't hold off anymore. But one thing we did get is like some high performance costs of unused JavaScript. So this is something I'm going to be looking into. I've been kind of doing a little bit of research on it last night, and there was like a bunch of solutions and things that were sort of suggested. The first thing was actually looking at how to observe the unused JavaScript, which was really interesting because I actually hadn't used that before. I haven't actually used the coverage function in the DevTools, so that was kind of interesting to see. And I think I can't remember how much, but yeah, it was definitely enough to be a little bit alarmed by it. So I'm going to be looking into why that is. I think perhaps it could be something that's render blocking due to expensive calculation or like a third-party library. But I'm going to have to look into that more and sort of figure that out. But yeah, so that's another thing. It's just kind of wanted to refresh on the whole consideration side of things. So performance is one of them. So I'll be just so you guys know, I'll be regularly sort of coming back and maybe checking these during live streams. And maybe working on some stuff as well, trying to fix some of these live on here, and maybe working together with anyone else that knows a bit more around this. Another thing as well, a new feature, a contact form, which essentially, standard thing. You can put your name in there. Here's my one password, going crazy. Mum's home and she's just calling me, so I will have to just run away in 2 seconds for about 2 seconds. And so like I can type my name and my email and stuff and just say like blah blah blah, and let's hope this doesn't crash in production. This would be really embarrassing actually if this does, but I'm gonna kind of go for it. So we've got a loading state here. So we actually got an error. Well, okay, that's interesting to see actually, because that kind of it's kind of nice because this at least shows that we're getting the correct error messages. So we know that logic is working at least. But we're getting an error that only absolute URLs are supported. Interesting. We can search that up and have a look at what that means, because I have no idea what that means. Okay. So this is a good point to actually look at the project. I'm not going to show this on the screen yet because I'm having a look at my environment variables. Right, okay. Right, okay. So it seems right, okay. Okay. Yeah, I think it's something to do with like production. So basically in my environment variables in that file, I've basically got a variable that points to my, so I'm using FormSpree. Anyone that's, I'm currently using FormSpree. I've kind of just stumbled on it fairly recently. So I'm kind of just checking it out. I don't really know if I'm totally bought in. yet. But the nice thing about it is that, like, you know, if I wanted to change it, it's quite fairly straightforward. Like, the logic is implemented in a way that I can actually just kind of swap out things if I needed, like without too much hassle. There isn't too much interdependency, if that's the word, or too much dependency, I suppose. Would probably be a better way to say it. So there isn't too much dependency on specifics when like with this tooling. So but I mean, it's been okay so far. But basically, what I have like found is, yeah, what I found is that, as you can see here, so we've got like the potential issue maybe being the fact that it's in production that's messed things up. Yeah, so it does seem like a fairly common problem. So you need a whole URL, not just a path. Okay. That's interesting, isn't it? Okay, so let's have a look at wait, hold on a second. So it's just, oh right, okay. I think I may potentially see where the problem is happening. Okay. So the error is coming from fetch IntelliJ point. Right. Okay. Right, I see now. Okay, so that other thing that I saw makes sense now. Cool. This is going to be something, I might do this later, or maybe I'll do this in the next portfolio project stream, is to maybe tackle this issue. So, okay, this kind of makes a lot more sense now. So what this basically is saying, so this is a variable that's basically saying that this is, you know, this is in development if the process.m, you know, if the node environment is not in production, obviously it's going to be in development. So we're storing that, and what we're saying is that if it's in development, then the URL of this should be localhost 3000, you know, and then whatever. So in our case, I think mine's like /API/ Formspree or /email or something like that. I think it's /email. And then what you would say is that if it's not in development, then it would be gregogden.com/API/. So that's what the problem is. is that so I'll actually just show you the code where this resides if I can find it. It's in the contact form. So and just to mention here as well, I still need to test this. I still need to do some testing around this, which I do plan to do. So the fetch is, yeah, so here is the problem, right? We're saying /API/email. Fetch, like, obviously this is fine in development, but in production it's expecting the like absolute URL. It doesn't know what like /API/email is. So what this would look like would be like, so it'd be something like this: gregogden.com/API/email. Now that would work essentially. So I'm obviously not going to do that there because that's then not going to work in development. So essentially, what we want to do is to implement that logic that I just showed before, something similar, where we can actually just check against production. If it's not in production, then we obviously refer into localhost. Otherwise, we will refer to our URL. So it's nice to catch that bug. I'm going to go say hi to Mum, and I'll be back shortly. Enjoy the music in the meanwhile.
Mm, 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 mm.
Okay, and that's my bad. I've just been talking for about, I don't know, 5 minutes, without my volume up, which is, yeah, really embarrassing. I wasn't saying anything important. No, basically what I was saying was that I've been inspired by Josh. I don't know how to say his name. I'm just going to say Josh. Josh's blog, to sort of integrate sound into it, like this little sound thing every time you hit a like, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, so I want to have a settings feature where basically what I was talking about was relating to animations and having a settings feature where you can manually turn them on and off, as well as, you know, having the reduced motion media query as well, for those that prefer not to have motion, or reduced motion, of course. And I think that's really it. But yeah, I was just basically talking about how I've got this projects page, as well as another feature, and yeah, how basically I built that, you know, this contacts component as well, and sort of that's what I needed to kind of get this up to scratch for like the initial sort of push to production, which is what I'm regarding this as. Even though I had something up on this site before that was kind of like the construction, you know, placeholder stuff, but this is like the first official release, if you want to call it that. So yeah, what I was saying is that what I want to work on going forward was obviously that stuff I mentioned, with having more like animations and motion, but also having the controls to pause and stop them, and also just adding like a bit more like interactivity and some color as well to the site. You know, it's still, like, in my eyes, it's still fairly basic at this point. Obviously this, you know, this whole thing here looks nice and visually pleasing, but I think like kind of going through, you can kind of like, you know, it's fine. Like I'm happy with the design. I just think that there's more I can do to really bring this UI to life. So I'm going to be sort of, you know, going back to the drawing board with the design and thinking about adding, yeah, some more of that kind of nice visual stuff. Obviously, always considering accessibility first, and yeah, that's kind of the main thing that I'll be doing going forward with this project. I've also got a couple of other projects I'm working on as well, which are exciting, which I won't talk about yet. I'm refraining nowadays anyway from talking about things I'm working on until like they're at a point where, I mean, like, I'm completely all for, and I'm doing it right now, like, you know, learning and building in public. That's obviously what I'm doing in my portfolio project. But there are a few other projects where like I think it's more suitable for me just to kind of show don't tell, if that makes sense, like to kind of work away on it and then be like, hey, this is the thing at this level. Obviously I'll be still building things out, but there are a few other projects as well that I'm having thoughts about, that it would be cool to do some live streams on, sort of after I've got through the main part of this portfolio project, which I feel like I'm kind of almost at the end of now, which is interesting. I've been working on this for a little while now, so it's going to be weird to like not be working on this all the time on live streams, but I think it would be nice to switch it up a bit and work on some new things and work on some challenges, and try and interact with the community in different ways, and cover a bit more content for people to like learn about as well. I think it would be cool. So that's kind of me going forward. I think this has probably run on for longer than I intended. It's just an hour. That's all right, actually. Anyone that's watching this, if you've got any questions or anything, feel free to drop something in the comments, or I've got my Discord linked in the chat, so feel free to drop something in there. Well, I say comments, I'm only catering to YouTube. If any Twitch people, hit up the Discord, or you can also hit me up on Twitter. You can DM me. My links are they'll be in the bio once this sort of goes up on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, just check my profile, the links will be there. Feel free to reach out to me, let's just chat about web development. If there's stuff you're working on, I'd love to hear about it. I really love to hear about what other people are doing and what their experiences have been, with web development in general, but then also, specifically working with, similar tools that I'm working with, with Next.js. How have you found it? Chakra UI, if that's what you're working with, or you've got into it recently. I'd just love to hear, what other people are doing, because that interests me. So that would be cool if you guys wanted to chat about this kind of things, then definitely join the Discord, because that's kind of the aim, is just to talk about what we're up to and seeing sort of where some of the lines cross over and where we can help each other out, and all of that good stuff. I feel like community is important, so I'm just really trying to push that, and that's kind of what this is for, is just to bring some updates. I wasn't actually going to stream today. I was going to kind of leave this for the weekend, but I thought it'd be nice to jump on today, give you guys some updates, and then I think tomorrow, maybe for an hour or two, just jump back on, and I think we'll be looking at the portfolio project, and we'll be looking at, specifically looking at building out features. I think we'll look more into depth on things like testing, and because that's another thing that I've been sort of getting into more recently, is testing, and perhaps even look at integrating TypeScript, or how we might do it. I don't know. We'll see how we get on, I think. But it's definitely something going forward that I'm going to be integrating. Something we'll be covering in live streams. So we'll be doing that on Saturday, and then on Sunday it'll be something open source. So that's my promise. So I'll probably be on for about an hour on Sunday, and we can check out either something that I'm gonna building, or I'm contributing to. So I think that's pretty much it from me. I'm just trying to think of anything that I might not have covered right now, but I think that's most of the things that I wanted to really talk about. It was just to catch up, just to let you guys know what I've been up to. And also before I go, just a bit of news as well. Like nothing huge, but definitely something exciting. Is that some of you guys that have watched my streams before will know about Chingu, and the fact that I've been participating and being involved with Chingu since last year. So I've been sort of doing projects, group projects in that since last year, and more recently, actually, I think at the start of last month now, which is it doesn't seem like it's been that long away. I actually became a facilitator for Chingu, which essentially the role of a facilitator is to review projects. So for each, I won't go into it too much here because I've gone into it so much in other streams. So just check out some of the other ones. Even though there's so many of them, you might not find it. But essentially, you have like voyages, which are 6-week projects, and if you're using Chingu for the first time, which a lot of people, we have a lot of new people that come to Chingu in each voyage. So if you're coming to it the first time, you have to submit a solo project, and it's just kind of for like the team to gauge like the skill level, so they can put them in a comfortable sort of tier. So they're all kind of tiered between like tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, which is basically like kind of HTML, CSS, and then tier 2 is more working with APIs and frameworks. Tier 3 is like the like kind of complete full stack approach. So that's kind of what the solo projects are for, and it's also to gauge people's commitment and how likely committed they'll be. And so I'm part of the like team of facilitators that will review those projects and give feedback based on that, and also just providing general support for teams and for individuals too during voyages. So it's been great so far, and it's just really nice to have the opportunity to actually give back to that community, because I've really got a lot, and I've learned a lot from doing these group projects, and just how kind everyone at Chingu is, and how open people are to different types of collaboration, and to just sort of being open with different thoughts and ideas and people from all different walks of life. It's a really great community there, and so I'm glad to be getting more and more stuck into it. So that's just the life update, I suppose, from me. I haven't really got much other life updates other than the fact that I'm currently applying for jobs. So if anyone comes across this and you're working somewhere where you're hiring, feel free to reach out and let me know. That'd be great. Or if you're working on anything freelance, or you need some freelance work or anything, then do feel free to hit me up. Not on my contact form just yet. I'll be fixing that ASAP, but you hit me up by email or Twitter, which again, like I said, those links should be, I don't know about my email. I'll pop that maybe in the description on the YouTube channel or something. But actually no, it should be in my channel info, so you can find that through there. Otherwise, just hit me up on Twitter. It'll probably be easier as well, and you'll most likely get a quicker response on there. So right, that's it for me. I'm going to cut off here. And I think I'm getting better at cutting off, because usually like I'd go on for like another half an hour just rambling. But I have covered all I wanted to cover. Like I said, it's not like a super long one. I just wanted to update everyone on my absence and what I've been up to since. And I will be thinking more about my schedule over the next couple of days, and sort of giving some updates on that. So that will either be in the next stream, or maybe in the Discord, or both. I think it would be good just to update people on what days I'm going to be streaming, and what the general sort of topics I'm going to be covering are. So like I said, I think at the moment I'm trying to split it up into personal projects, challenges, and open source work as well. So thank you everyone for joining. Always much appreciated, and it's great to kind of chat with you guys, and it's great to see that you guys have been getting stuff out of this. And thank you to everybody for all the nice comments that I've seen. I'll spend the evening getting back to them, as well as fixing our little production bug, which has been actually really nice to see, because I'm glad that we got the error message like sort of working correctly. If we hadn't, we wouldn't even know. So people could have been sending me emails, and like I wasn't receiving them. So that's been a nice indication that I need to go and fix my stuff. So all right everybody, take care, and thanks again for joining. Peace.